Hello, hello. There it is. I have no idea what kind of a glitch that was. It was not me. I had to reinstall my microphone. So that's kind of glitchy. But welcome to 1111 True Crime. We worked through it. I'll edit that out for those that are on replay. Thank you kindly on the live for staying with me. We are going to be talking about something so bizarre to me. Like, I was planning on just kind of chilling today, but this left me going, what? So in the John George case, we all know he has a criminal background. We all know he was hanging out with criminals. So for me, I'm not going to get involved into, the underwear world is what I call it, when you get that low that you're just jumping in and out of prison, getting mixed up with the wrong people. But what it does leave is a KILLER, because YouTube makes me spell it, on the loose. So is it really, are the family correct in assuming that it has to be Johnny and Madison, which are the two suspects, along with the accomplice of Mike Molly, right? Or Mikkel. Here's the thing. We don't know. No one actually knows. But what I'm assuming that the family has found out, because the Spanish police are not talking. The civil avocados are like, we're not saying nothing. But somehow it's gotten leaked out to the media that John George's flight home was actually booked after he would have been dead. What? What? How in the world? Why? So I started looking into it, watching Haley, listening to the reporter, reading the paper, and I thought I'd bring you on my little thing last night that I did, where I just grabbed little snippets to try to make sense of all this, and bring in your opinion and see what you're thinking. Let me go ahead and say hello to my beautiful mods, Jennifer Swain, Debbie Gazzardo, and Rach, not that Rage. Thank you guys so much. And Az is here as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you just never know, Jennifer's Jennyville might pop in too. And we have, Az has been, where is it? A starlight for 11 months on 11/11. So a golden anniversary, right? As a starlight seed. Thank you, Az. Thank you. And for jumping on when you can and modding and just being with us. Thank you. Also, yeah, everybody's saying, miss you, Az. She has a very full plate with her children, and so she gets here when she can. And Elizabeth Noble, thank you for the $4.99 snooper chat. Thank you, lovely. One other shout out, because this happened offline, well, online, but when I wasn't live. Zaxxon, thank you for the $2.99 snooper chat, my dear. Thank you kindly. I did get it. It just, when it happens offline, it takes me a live or two to kind of get it all together. A lot on my plate, too. But thank you all very, very much. Hi, Maggie, Nikki UK, Philip, hello. Hey, Viv. How's everybody doing? Hi, Gail, Fin7. So, how does that work, you guys? Forgive me. Let me grab this newspaper article. Now, I can't see chat when I go to do this, but I want to share just what the paper is saying, and then we'll get into some of these other things. And I'm going to share a little snippet of what Haley Comet believes the motive is. And I'm like, I don't think I agree. I mean, I think she's great at her job and all that. I just simply don't believe that it has nothing to do with crime. And Haley's expressing that it has more to do with a girl. I don't know about that. Let's go ahead and look at this. Now, it says, this is from Belfast Telegram. or Telegraph, sorry. And when is this dated? January 16th, 2025. Exclusive mystery as John George's flight home from Spain was booked after his murder. An EasyJet flight from Alicante to Belfast that murdered, I can't say the word real good, you guys. I have a tongue tie with it. Murdered, there it went. Father of two, John George, and I don't mean to laugh. I can't talk sometimes. Father of two, John George, was due to return appears to have been booked after his death. Mr. George's family were told he would be returning to Belfast on December 18th after the holiday in the Alicante region of Spain. He never boarded the plane and alarm bells were raised. Mr. George's remains were discovered in a rural area close to Royas, 45 minutes south of Alicante last week, in a lemon field, right? Lemon orchard. He is believed to have been shot dead sometime around the evening of December 14th. Spanish police are in receipt of details of the return flight that was only booked online after he is believed to have been killed. So what are they using? Are they using bank statements? Because those can have a delay on them. I don't know. Are they getting email confirmations to when it was booked? I don't know. The body of the murdered Belfast man is to be brought back to Ireland on Thursday, more than a month after he disappeared in Spain. Mr. George's remains will be flown back to Dublin before being driven back to Belfast. Let's stop right there. So apparently they're still waiting for the autopsy. The last I've been able to find, to the best of my knowledge, they even are talking about a second type of level of autopsy. So they're not releasing the body yet. Back to the article. Mr. George's remains will be flown to Dublin before being driven back to Belfast. His father, Billy George, said that the family were, quote, relieved to finally be able to bring their son home and give him a proper burial. So they haven't, though. They have not. To my knowledge, they have not got the body. So I'm confused. That's poor writing, because it doesn't clarify that they've received the body. And when I checked last night, as far as I know, let me know if I'm wrong. Let me come up to chat. Can anybody confirm that the body, his funeral is for the 24th, is it not? Is asking Elizabeth. Okay, I'm waiting to find out. Let's get back into this. We'll have to look into it. I am certainly not, totally on top of this case, so any information helps greatly. David Matheson says, was it booked by Mr. George's card after they think he was dead? Then the card is found outside the pub in the locality. Right. So we're going to get into that about that card being found. Right? Did somebody book it and then ditch the card by the bar? And how would they know his passport details to book the flight? You feel me? Okay, Gail Cashin makes a good point. There is no time of death from Spain. So then how do you draw the conclusion? Let's read a little further. We've got some things to look at, too. It goes on to say, Billy posted on Facebook last night that his son's funeral will take place, here it is, on Friday, January 24th. I am off today, I'm telling you. While his body will remain in his mother's home from Monday of next week. So I don't know if they have the body yet or not. Mr. George added that everyone is welcome and thanked people for supporting the family. Okay, This is the question. Let's go ahead and peg Kelly up on the board. Let's get chat on the board. Here, I thought I had chat pinned. Let me go back and just do shout out to people because I thought I had chat pinned. Elizabeth Noble, again, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you, dear. And then Az had her 11-month anniversary, and she says, peeping on that flower. How cute. All right, so I didn't want to not show that. So let's go back to, now I've lost the question, y'all, give me a minute. I've lost the question completely. Ask again, Kelly. But how, basically it was to the effect, I believe, of how would they have known? How did the family know that they would go pick him up at the airport? Who called the family and said, okay, John George is on his way home, if he's already gone? You see, because they said they talked to him. He needed to come home, right? So then they would have been waiting for the flight details, any information saying, hey, pick me up at this time. We're missing that piece of the puzzle. So the family has alleged that they go to the airport and he doesn't show up. How did they know to go to the airport? When? So there's something discombobulated with that. Okay, Gene Carson's saying the body is supposed to be coming back on Thursday today. All right, let's continue. So it goes on to say, a 32-year-old man has appeared in court in Spain on suspicion of involvement in his murder and released on police bail pending further investigation. So, according to what we're about to hear, he is charged with being an accomplice, and they're releasing him? That's crazy. Okay, 2 people are still being sought by Spanish police in relation to the investigation, which most people are assuming is Johnny Smith and Madison. Says Interpol are also assisting the Spanish authorities with the murder probe. The murdered man family met with PSNI on Monday. The statement from George family after the meeting released through their solicitor, so they must have now a spokesperson or a go-between. Kevin Winters said, quote, we are pleased to report that assurances were given on upscaling communication with Spanish police, good luck, to access key information on the current status of their investigation. They don't like to talk until they're ready. The most important issue right now for the family is when their son's body will be returned to Belfast. There it is. To date, despite the recovery of John's remains almost a week ago, it remains unclear as to when the autopsy will be concluded. So this is a cold read, and it is the 16th today as I'm reading this. So this is current. So importantly, please confirm today they will help facilitate all steps towards completion of a second, there it is, post-mortem report on the deceased. So there's going to be 2 post-mortem reports on John. Quote, the family feel very strongly that so the assurances given this afternoon are very welcome. The family raised concerns about being able to receive communications from the Spanish authorities without impinging, I think it means impinging, or maybe I'm reading it wrong, on the sensitivities of police inquiries. The statement added, quote, we have also learned that police will assist as far as possible in the investigation of any links of suspects or persons of interest in Belfast. Now, Duncan Smith is wondering, are they looking at the family? I don't know. Make you wonder. Something to Belfast, right? Goes on to say the key message is the undertaking given by police to the family that they will act as an information conduit with the Spanish. So the police are going to be the go-between. In doing so, PSNI stress again that this is an extrajudicial investigation, so any steps of a proactive nature must, unless anything changes, be taken upon direction of the Spanish police. The family have been frustrated with what they see as communication deficit with the Spanish. To that end, anything that can help address this information gap would be welcomed. And then among those to pay tribute to the murdered man was former boxing world champion Carl Frampton, who was once beaten by young John George in the ring. That's shocking. And he says, my heart goes out to his family, and all I can do is offer my deepest condolences to them at this most difficult time. So that's interesting. Didn't know he was that good of a boxer. Holy crap. Okay, you guys, so are you ready to listen to this? I got a little thing here from Allison Morris. I just grabbed a snippet because there's no photograph or anything. It was a podcast. So you'll have to look at my little face. But here you go.
The guy who was on the plane, because I was on that plane on the way home with John George's partner, and she still had the t-shirt with his face on it. He was one of the two young men who were in that apartment the morning that I was at the apartment in Spain. So they weren't suspects in the murder. They clearly travelled over from Northern Ireland to live in Spain as part of this allure of a great life. And he had then been spoken to by police and was on Spanish bail and had legged it. The police at the airport, the PSNI officers I spoke to there, said, look, we can't do anything about this because the Spanish police would need to have issued a European arrest warrant. It's not called a European arrest warrant now. It's an agreement after Brexit. It's a treaty. But we don't have any reason to arrest him. We've just been told he's on the plane. John George's partner was very distressed at this stage. She had to be put on a separate bus to the terminal to keep her away from any further contact.
Okay. So let me slow it up a little bit and break it down. So one of the men that was in the apartment, according to Allison, the reporter, one of the men that she saw in the apartment, because there were two that were in Johnny's apartment, one of them ended up on the same flight home back to Belfast, okay, as John George's partner. And she wasn't going to have it, of course. Absolutely. So she had to be put on a different flight. Now, what that tells me is, could he be the Belfast one that they're all like looking at still? And they basically couldn't hold him because they had nothing at the time to hold him on. And because Spanish police didn't put out any type of a warrant or arrest of any kind, then he goes untouchable. He gets back to Belfast. So could that be when it's going on to talk about that Belfast connection? What do you guys think? Elizabeth Noble says, strange that John George's uncle, also called John George, was also shot in Killed. Are you kidding me? What kind of wormhole have I opened up? Like a can of worms. Was he taken out because they thought they had the right John George and then they found out they didn't? Or was that like some past thing a long time ago? Hey, Matthew Reese, I feel for John and his family, especially his children, but my concentration is not leaving Jay Slater. He was a kid who didn't know what he was going to. I believe John knew what he was going to. I do too. But as long as there's killers on the loose, I'm going to look into it. It wasn't a dog toy. It was my headphones caused reverb. I am so sorry. Dave Matheson says, they two young men never realized they were going to be used as rockets and gophers for Johnny and Madison. Someone said it as on Duncan's channel, Mama D. What, Niecy? Said what? Hold on, y'all. I want to know what was said. Now I'm nosy. I missed it. Okay. Here we go.
Talk with these people. So there's a lot of characters involved in this, and I know it can get confused, but we have two main suspects, two men and one from the Czech Republic, and then we have a cast of characters who are either linked to alleged aiding and abetting of the killers, of giving alibis, of sending false leads and false information.
So, everything Madison was sharing was the opposite of what really was happening. The body was found the opposite way, all that kind of stuff. So the big question is Madison the one this reporter's talking about giving misdirection? Not just misinformation, but misdirection on purpose.
And then of potentially helping finance the situation of the person who is on the run. So the main suspect has not been arrested yet and hasn't been spoken to by police. The guy from the Czech Republic had. The interesting thing...
Okay, so the main suspect has not spoken to the police. So that would leave Mike Malley out. And if we are to trust Madison, which I can't see it, but she made that little, statement on TikTok that she talked to the police. Did she? The only one I know of that hasn't talked to the police would be Johnny Smith.
I found out about him is he had left Spain shortly after John George is believed to have been murdered and went home to the Czech Republic, but then returned to Spain, which I thought was interesting because he could have stayed in the Czech Republic and it would have been much harder to find, but he did come back again. So he is currently on police bail in Spain.
If he's guilty, if he's the accomplice, why would he return? When he's already made it out of the country, he's basically in the clear till anybody catches him. That's confusing to me. What are you guys thinking? I don't know if it was Jimmy Wire on the plane. Who's Jimmy Wire? Is he the other one than Dan? Or was it Jimmy Wire and Dan? Hey, Ann Cook. Yes, one of the lads, Dan, is meant to be the one Johnny shot in the leg. Now he's running around selling their stuff so he can move on somewhere. So sad and definitely confusing. OMG. He's literally selling. So Ann Cook is saying, so keep in mind, this is hearsay because we have no proof. I have no proof, see nothing. But Ann is saying, and if this is true, this is wild, that Dan is selling all of Madison and Johnny Smith's stuff while they're on the run or in hiding or whatever. And none of us even know if he's in Thailand or if he is sitting tight somewhere close to home. This is crazy. And is Madison with him? Is she the one that booked the flight? Is she the one that had the bank card? Would it have been Johnny? Could it have been someone else? Who would have booked the flight for a dead man? That's crazy. This is bizarre. Hey, Tracy Jones, you say, hi, Mama D. Dawn, Johnny's mom, has been financing both Madison and Johnny to help them stay hidden. This feels more like that kind of a thing. Like a mom thing. Somebody that's lived a little bit, that has a little business experience in their mind and knows that they're doing a little bit. That feels more like that would be the person to me that would come up with the whole, let's book a flight home. That'll give us a lot longer. It'll stall for some timeline. Right? And then you better ditch the cards. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the game plan rolling in from maybe Johnny's mom Could be, maybe. I just don't see Madison as being this clever, to be honest. I tried to give her the benefit of a doubt, but I just see her as a really messed up, dumb, arse kid that needs some help. Like, serious help. But I feel like behind Johnny, there's been this whole, like, fake hoaxing going on. Like, with the whole, when the mother tried to show where she arrived and it turned out to be much sooner and the spelling was wrong on the ticket because it had been faked, then that would make me think of this whole idea of buying a ticket. And how sick is that, to make the family think that he's coming home for Christmas? That's sick. David Matheson, Tracy, well, she's putting herself up for charge of aiding and abetting. In your opinion, right? We have to keep it that way. Where is the watch? Katrina Evans, did the mother take the watch? Who took the watch? Where in the hell is the watch? A honey trap? All right, let's get on to this. We're going to look at Haley a little bit here. And I think it's this one.
So Alison Morris, who obviously was the I'd rather be lonely. Alison Morris, who is the woman who went over to kind of help.
Okay, that I already did that. I just shared same stuff she's going to. But let's go ahead. Let's get PowerPoint on the board. And this gets weird. So I believe this is the part where Haley's talking about the possible motive. And I'm like, in my book, just to me, looking from the outside on the little bit that I do know, I smell criminal activity all over this. And then the phone call she's about to share, that might be the second part, but there's a phone call in this that is very disturbing, that makes me think, and it's between Johnny Smith or texting. Is it texting? I'll let you look at it. But this is so confusing.
So with Madison, she presented at first as just a 19-year-old girl, caught up in kind of like the sex trade, caught up with this older boyfriend who had been known to abuse her. So I kind of felt very kind of sympathetic towards her at first. Not overly, but still, I was aware of her age, and I didn't want to kind of attack someone without kind of knowing if the kind of case, which I always have to say. So once I started to see more and more of Madison and kind of how destructive she'd been to the family and to the case, and kind of the games that she had played with them, it became quite aware this wasn't an innocent young girl. This was someone who kind of thrived off of the kind of this underground kind of world.
I have to admit that I agree with Haley there. I gave her the benefit of a doubt, and look at this mess.
And her whole kind of family, the build up to her whole family is not good people. Especially the women in her family, unfortunately, don't seem to be great people. And
now, in fairness, Haley goes on to say about John George that he has, him and his family have he comes from a good family, but he has a lot of criminal stuff in his background, but we shouldn't judge somebody by all that. But then she does with Madison. So that's a little bit, no, not for me. For me, I'm not really in this. I'll be honest. I feel bad for his family that they're going through this. But John George, he knew the kind of life he was going into. He knew this was not a holiday trip. And when you let the devil pay your rent, you know damn sure he's going to come collecting. Just saying. When you let the devil... What's the matter, baby? Quentin laughed. And they didn't take the puppies with them, so you can hear a crying dog. But you feel what I'm saying. But the thing is there's this like Bonnie and Clyde atmosphere around Johnny and Madison, and I don't know what they're going to do next. If this is something that they actually are part of, in the literal sense that this all took place and all this with Johnny being the head of this, that is some dangerous people to not know where they are. Could they still be in the same area and need a car quick? Hope to God, you're not driving down the road with your kids and stop at the stop sign. These people don't seem to have a moral bone in their body, but they also don't seem to be thinking for themselves. It seems to me like somebody else is navigating this little ship. You feel me? And I feel it's weird, like Madison alleged that she was right there near her home. But at the same time, she could have been anywhere in the world. So let's go ahead and play this, and I'll mute, and hopefully I can get lucky up here.
She has purposely worked to discredit this family, point them in the wrong direction. She told them that John's body was going to be the complete opposite way, so she kind of steered them away from where he would eventually been found. We know on the day that the police hit on the lemon orchard, the bank card was then placed outside a bar in Alicante, and I did tell you guys, like, somebody's put that there to get them away from the search they're doing, which is where his body was recovered. And we now know that was Madison that did that. We know that Madison actually booked the flight after.
Hold on.
We haven't.
See, that's where I got lost, right there, that move. I mean, that's a big amount of information. How do we know? Because the family's not getting information from the Spanish police. So it's not coming from the police. So then how do we know that Madison is the one that had anything to do with that card? How do we know? Because, to say we now know makes it sound factual. And I just simply would like to know, did you get a text from Madison, Haley, that said, I'm the one that did the bank card, I'm the one that booked the flight? Or is there something else? Because if the family is not being given information and the police aren't releasing information, where did this information originate from? Because that leaves me confused, and I'm not going to jump on this wagon of, okay, another person said it, so I'm going to take it as fact. So that still leaves me in question. How did that bank card get outside the bar? And who would have booked that flight? And I'm not so sure it's Madison. I'm not so sure she would be confident, or Johnny even would have confidence in Madison to do all this properly. I almost feel like this would be an older adult. That's just my humble opinion. And so I'm not going to say we now know that it's this person, but I am going to say my suspicions would be on Johnny's mommy. So if I was at the poker table and I was a betting girl, I would take about 3/4 of my chips and push it towards that direction. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a mom doing a little true crime with you. Isla says, I started thinking about angels just as I seen the number on the board in the background. Very eerie. Oh, it was at 333 when you said that, I bet. And nobody deserves to be murdered over money. Correct, Kathleen. David Matheson, could she have been seen planting the card outside the pub? That would link her to the booking, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe Madison was seen doing that and we don't know. But then again, if she was seen, did the witnesses call the family or did they report it to the police? I'm not sure. There's just a lot not here. Let's go over here and listen to this. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing. Please go check out Haley Comment. But here's her theory as to why Johnny was red-rummed or taken out. I'm not sure I'm on board with this theory, but I wanted to share it with you. See what you think. I kind of have a different theory, but okay.
The motive is very much connected to girls. It's connected to Madison. It's connected to her and how she kind of perceives herself to be wanted by all men and kind of not very happy that John just kind of wanted to be left alone by her. She also went back to Did you own Comet back in the day? Yes, I own. No poor wife.
Skip ahead.
John George and his baby mother have been separated for 4 years. Shit you said about me is pure fucking lies. They extorted me.
Okay, here.
So-
It's going to get sweary, but this is a message that Johnny Smith messaged some chick back in Belfast, and from my understanding, and this Belfast woman sent it to John George. So Johnny Smith, he sends a text message that Haley reads to the woman that's been working with John George. And she forwards all those messages to John George. And so while he's over there in the midst of all this with Johnny, John George now knows that Johnny's talking crap. This gets weird. So listen to this message that he messaged this girl, this woman.
And that's not the one I've covered up the number, so I can't put it on the screen. But it's got her mobile number on. So he says, so this is a girl he's obviously trying to offer some kind of opportunity, a business opportunity again. He says, look, business is business. I'm not going to slab at all, wee girl. Just don't make me look like a cunt. Like when you're seeing my mate, meaning Georgie. And I've that header Georgie over here trying to link up big things. It's hard enough to keep him fucking sober. And I'm meeting special ops men who are killers. And he's coming back with my main one on Wednesday, but only way I'm giving you work.
I'm meeting with special ops who are KILLERS's. I'm meeting with special ops who are KILLERS's. Let's stop right there. So you think this is all about a girl? You don't think it could be about the Kennans and the Russians and all this? I mean, you had John George talk about that on his last Proof of Life, and now you have a message that allegedly was going on while John George was still alive, where Johnny is alleging that two connections that are killers. What? And now we know the Spanish are looking for two suspects. How do we not, what if Johnny Smith and Madison found out what happened and it wasn't them? What if it was really the two special ops that are killers? And so now them two are freaking the hell out because they're hiding from the KILLERs and the cops. I mean, you got to really open the mind up because nobody really has all the details. So we can't just assume anything. I mean, I just can't see this being over a girl. I can't. Let's go ahead and listen to this message.
It's directly from me and Georgie isn't involved because you did a fly thing there with Damo. I don't fuck about in any way with all that shit you said about me is pure fucking lies. They extorted me. I've got all the proof if you want to see it. Don't ever think I'm a dickhead either. I'm a nice guy, but I wouldn't even think twice about going to war with anyone. Not females, but I'll go to war with everyone they love. Just let me know and reply on WhatsApp. I'm not going to get Damo sorted, just I don't want no more drama. But obviously there was other messages as well. Now obviously John George is talking to this girl back home. We don't know about the relationship, how it's going. I don't know who Damo is.
It's obviously a business relationship with this woman because John has a partner that was back on the plane with the other guy that had been in Johnny's apartment that the reporter saw. So he's got a partner, and Haley knows that and knows that this isn't the partner. So if it's not romantic and they're into this business, how is this all about a girl? You feel me? I mean, let's keep it real. I doubt it's anything to do about Madison. I'll bet you this has to do with arms. I would guess arms. If you feel me. If you feel me. He was single, but he had a partner because she went on the plane. Who stands to make money off of this? I have no idea. This is just so bizarre. And that was my question. And we're going to jump off here because we have another live coming up where we get relaxed and I share a lot of what you have to say. And we're going to be talking about, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bonnie and Clyde, but it's an American history thing. And it was about this young female and this young male, and they get together and they become this, like, go on this crime spree. And I've gotten to think, is that what this is with Madison and Johnny? Is this like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde? This is wild. Like, I don't know, maybe you've seen the movie Natural Born Killers, but how is this going to end? That's my question. Like, in my mind, I'm like, are they going to, you know, come in, turn themselves in and confess that they're innocent or confess they're guilty? Are they going to get away with it? I got to thinking about, oh my gosh, what if they got away with this? What if they didn't do it? And then the big question is, I guess really, what if they go down in like a blast, a shoot off? This is horrifying. Really, it's kind of like I'm curious as to what the hell is going to happen. There's that truth train. So if you want to talk about all that, give me what your theories are. I would greatly appreciate you to continue with me. So let me go ahead and get PowerPoint down and chat down. Thank you all very much for tuning in and spending your time with me. And if you would like to continue with me, let's go ahead and get our outro ready. So get ready to do the time warp and jump over with me. See you soon. Bye for now. Thank you.